Stephon Castle finished with 12 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists on 4 of 12 shooting in his Summer League debut as the San Antonio Spurs fell to the Charlotte Hornets by 32 points on Saturday night. So let's go ahead and dive into the film, dissect his performance on both ends, and keep in mind that this fast-paced exhibition setting doesn't necessarily tend to lend itself to more methodical players like him. San Antonio opened things up with the horns out set to get Castle into an angle pick and roll, and one of the first things you'll notice is how deep he takes off from inside the paint, which only makes things tougher when he initiates contact with the big on this double clutch layup that hits nothing but the backboard. His self-creation ability was questioned quite a bit leading up to the 2024 NBA draft, and you can sort of see why on this possession as he struggles to generate separation from an undersized defender like Nick Smith Jr. and ends up settling for a difficult one-legged fadeaway near the end of the shot clock. Just not an ideal look here. But one thing I really loved is how poised he plays out of ball screens, takes his time getting to the nail, draws help with the opposing big and drop coverage, and just makes the simple read one man away to a wide open City Sissoko, who unfortunately bricks the triple. Point of attack defense is definitely Castle's most translatable skill entering the NBA. Watch as he navigates this pin down, fills out the incoming ball screen, hounds Smith Jr., understands where help is coming from, and uses a smart angle and a 6'9" wingspan to notch a deflection that ultimately leads to a Jamaree Bouye steal and a fast break bucket for San Antonio. You have to appreciate how under control Castle is snaking this ball screen out of a spread pick and roll, but because the scouting report says he isn't a threat off the bounce, the big sags off when he rises into an elbow jumper, and adding that to his arsenal would unlock so much upside. We won't linger on this clip of him curling this wide pin down, but here's another example of how taking off from too far out hurt his rim finishing against Charlotte. Castle showed his motor and penchant for making winning plays, coming down with an offensive board in a crowd, using his handle and physicality to walk his defender into the paint, and firing this bullet to the corner through traffic for a clean Tyson Ward 3. The rookie also displayed some rebound and run potential, corralling the ball, surveying the floor, flowing into this shallow middle pick and roll, and using a hang dribble to freeze the big man so he could get off this soft free throw line floater. Castle was a hesitant long-range shooter at UConn, and his first open opportunity from deep resulted in a turnover after he traveled, being indecisive between driving or firing away, but he made up for that mistake later on. Though Charlotte bringing 2 to the ball forces Castle to kill his dribble, he shifts the defense with his eyes to open up this passing window to Nathan Mensah, and while the big man has his layup erased, you have to imagine Victor Wembanyama punctuates this play with a slam. Castle looked comfortable with the ball in his hands, getting downhill on this horns action before delivering a gorgeous mid-air wraparound dime to Mensah for an uncontested dunk. Though his defense was mostly sound throughout the contest, Castle gambles for a steal in the passing lanes and leaves his feet on a pump fake, which puts him out of position, a misstep that is only amplified by swiping down and conceding an and one to Leaky Black. The reigning NCAA champion may have been tentative shooting from 3 earlier in the game, but apparently a quick discussion with head coach Kenny Trevino on the sidelines was all he needed to let it fly off the catch from the logo. And let's take another look at that shot. Everything starts with the left to right footwork, where he demonstrates great balance and generates pristine rotation on the ball with his follow-through. How about this suffocating pressure from Castle? Recovers after the initial contact with the screener, flips his hips to stay attached on the spin move, and gets in a solid contest despite Smith Jr. nailing the floater. Perhaps nothing offered Spurs fans more optimism about his scoring outlook than this sequence where Castle strung together some tween crosses before nailing a pull-up 3 with a hand in his face. For as many bright moments as he had on defense, Castle had a few blunders, including here, where he tripped over his man, got lost in recovery, and left his feet in the corner, which led to a wide open layup for Jake Stevens. But the fourth quarter is where Castle truly shined. I love how he went between the legs to lead his defender into this ball screen, dragged out his dribble to take the rim protector out of the paint, force a low man tag, and then made this jump pass to Jamaree Bouye for a wide open 3. Here's an excellent example of Castle using change of pace to put his man in jail on his back hip to get off a runner inside the paint, and while it doesn't fall, the process is often more important than the results when it comes to Summer League basketball. The thing that most stood out to me was his consistent poise as a lead playmaker. Castle showed an aptitude for expertly snaking ball screens like he does here, and the tight crossover to avoid the dig only serves to highlight his handle. This pocket pass to Mensah could have been better, but most of his feeds were precise against the Hornets. Castle isn't the flashiest passer, but he frequently made the right decision, so let's freeze. Notice how he waits for Caleb McConnell to commit to helping on a potential middle drive before he dishes it to Sidy Cissoko. And as we unpause, the French forward can rip off the catch with his man out of position for this and one layup off the glass. Stephon is also an intelligent team defender who understands when and where to make rotations. When Cissoko slides over to provide weak side rim protection, he peels off his man to close out to the corner. And shout out to Sidy for executing this textbook X out to get a high hand contest on Raekwon Battle. Great stuff from both of the youngsters. Of course, honest coverage means looking at the not so pretty moments from Castle, and after shooting a flat 3-ball that falls short and results in a long rebound and transition opportunity for Charlotte, he then gets caught flat-footed, backpedaling, and gives up an easy layup to Matt Morgan. But Castle puts an exclamation mark on his unofficial debut with this beautiful bump spin and offhand finish through contact for an and-one that puts his sturdy frame and body control on full display. So what can we take away from this tilt? Well, Castle is exactly as advertised on the defensive end, and he probably deserves more credit for his point guard capabilities than I gave him in the pre-draft process. Now, this is only one outing, but the future looks bright for San Antonio and their 4th overall pick.